First of all, Mikey, you would be lucky if you had 2 hours of my backside, I'll be honest. Secondly, Ash, I would try a Warhammer World event, but I have a full-time job. How does that make sense when it was over the weekend?
I have a full-time job.
But it was also over the weekend. The event started on a Saturday, finished on a Sunday. So why does that make a difference?
Yeah. Arguably, I have a more than full-time job. Because I work more than 40 hours.
I mean...
So, I work weekends. Could almost class this weekend.
I think we probably shouldn't tumble down this rabbit hole, let's be honest. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining us on this Tuesday. It's not fine. It's okay. There's a bit of sunshine now. It was raining earlier. It's supposed to be summer.
To be honest, I'm having a really good day.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I've had a nice weekend, and I got Warhammer World again tomorrow. So.
I'm having a really shit day. Yeah. I feel like crap, and I don't know why. I woke up grumpy, and within about half an hour I had a headache, and I haven't been able to shift it.
That's like every day for you, though.
No, it's not. I had a really good day yesterday.
Just wake up furious. Like,
I've had a pretty good weekend overall. Yeah, just raging.
Yeah, livid.
But I've had like headache tablets and water. I can't shift it today, so I don't know what's going on. It's weird. But Joe is right. He has had a great weekend. Before you jump into it, please make sure you hit all those magical YouTube buttons first. Hit the like button if you enjoy the content. Smash subscribe if you haven't already. And hit the bell notification icon if you want to be notified every single time we go live drop a new video. Welcome back to the channel, you wonderful human beings. I'm having a bad day for a few reasons. I found out my tax bill's due next week and how big it is. So things like these gifted memberships are very much welcome. And I've just got this weird headache that I can't shift at the moment. Odd. Not sure why. But hey. I'm not having as bad a weekend as some people who've been trying to buy a limited edition Horus Heresy book. Awkward.
I didn't even know it was coming out today.
No, £10 million.
I thought it would have come out on. I thought it was coming out on Saturday.
Did you?
Because they announced it the week before.
Odd for a Tuesday for it to be released, I thought. But
maybe it means like releasing it on like a Tuesday at 10 o'clock. It means that the people that actually really want it will put the time and effort in to do it.
Maybe.
Whereas like scalpers, like.
Yeah, perhaps it's to avoid scalpers. That's not a fair. It's not a bad.
Yeah.
Although what it's done is it's completely fucking backfired on them because the website crashed. Wouldn't let anyone add it to cart, and now it's down under maintenance. Website's fucked. Good job.
I suppose if you're getting like hammered by like bots, I suppose maybe.
Yeah, possibly.
I don't know. I don't understand how websites work.
I was originally going to put that as the thumbnail, the website under maintenance, to talk about how it's embarrassing that a multi-billion-pound company with a £10 million website can't run a website to launch a pre-order of a single book. But Joe suggested, because I'm in a grumpy mood, that it's probably not a good idea and we'd come across as quite negative and we'd be labelled the channel that always moans.
I think that's fair. I did also point out that like some websites just have a bad time, you know. PlayStation gets fucking hacked all the time.
The only moany-based comment we've had recently was after the Tau game, and it was about you.
No, it wasn't about me. It was me complaining about Tau.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Specifically, how Paddy plays them. It was kind of like an indirect, like nice complaining about Paddy. But Paddy was just playing the army the way it's supposed to be played.
Yeah, and it said at the end, not very sportsmanlike, Joe.
What, complaining about Tau?
Yeah.
Fuck him.
All game.
I just...
But
yeah.
I was making the thumbnail and Joe said it's moan. I was like, you know what? It probably pulls slightly more viewers in because it's moany. But you're right, and I'm feeling shitty. And I'm in a bad mood. I actually don't really want to do a moany stream.
There's too many channels getting fat off of the community for just complaining all the time.
Yeah, I didn't want to be moaning. I was like, yeah, Joe's right. So what I was originally going to do before the website died this morning was I was talk about this last weekend. I wasn't at Warhammer World. Joe went up to Warhammer World to do the, is it called the Golden Ticket event? Is that what
it's a Golden Ticket event, and Golden Tickets events are basically, you have to buy the ticket to go, and if you win, you get a Golden Ticket to America. Games Workshop pays your travel and your accommodation expenses.
Oh, they pay accommodation as well? I know they pay for the flight,
they pay for it. And there's 2 tickets at every Golden Ticket event, right? To win, basically. Basically, there's the battle points winners, it's first, second, third.
Yeah, people who scored the most.
Who scored the most? So the people that win. So normally it's the person that wins all 5 games.
Yeah, of course.
And if there's multiple people that have won all 5 games, it's done on battle points.
Yeah.
So who scored the most amount of points during a game, right? And Adam, who comes and plays on this channel of Beaches Fame, he came third.
Oh, bless him.
Down.
Well done, Adam.
He came third. And then there's another one, which is the overall winner, right? And this is based on your final placement in the tournament, but also favourite army and favourite player votes.
So it's a soft score edition.
A soft score edition. And I have said I want every tournament in the UK to start doing this. So you've got a battle points winner. So that person is the best at playing the game in terms of skill, I suppose. Best art. Like, they're like the best at playing the game. Right?
Yeah, of course.
Well, they're the best at playing.
And their dice behaved.
And their dice were good, right? And they've got overall winner, which is the pinnacle of good at playing the game, because normally because it's easier to get that first place if you've done quite well, but also like favourite game votes and favourite army votes are also very important, I think, because if someone had a good time playing against you, I think it's better for everyone at the event.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Because I was having a conversation with someone like why aren't you going to go for one? It's like, because I don't like how I have to be. Because you have to change your personality and how you behave and how you react to things, how you do things, and what kind of army you take to win these level of events, right?
I'm inclined to mostly agree with you, yeah.
And I think, like, because you have to be like, bruh, 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 and if stuff comes up, you have to be more inclined to argue points. Like, if you are right and your opponent is wrong, but your opponent's like doing it in the wrong way, you're more inclined to like get a judge involved and do stuff. Whereas I'm kind of like, I don't care. You do what you want to do.
I typically default to I don't care,
yeah,
whatever.
But so it goes a long way. So like, for instance, I finished battle points 40th, right? But overall, I came 12th. So enough people liked playing against me. And like every single one of my opponents, we had fun, we laughed, we bought each other drinks, you know, there were special moments, you know, and like we helped each other out. Like if your opponent's like, my opponent's going to do a thing, I'm like, don't do that because I can react in this way. If you go to there, you can do this. Is how or if I was winning a game, I was like, well, how do we catch your points up? That kind of thing. And it's just a better experience all around.
Yeah.
So Dan came like 43rd. So he came 3 points, 3 behind me, right? And he came 3rd overall, right? For the entire event. So he just fucking like that. He got 5 favourite player votes. So everyone just loved playing against him.
Yeah.
And obviously had some good favourite game votes as well. And he came 3rd, and which I think is
5
good.
favourite player votes, by the way. Well done, Dan. That's fucking incredible.
Yeah. Dan is one of the only people I personally know who has a Knight of the Inner Circle award at Warhammer World. If you win a tournament, so when it was a time, it was 5 favourite player, 5 favourite game votes, got you a Knight of Inner Circle. Whereas now you have to win the tournament and get 5 favourite player, 5 favourite game votes to get a Knight of the Inner Circle. And you got like special preferential treatment at Warhammer World and stuff. But Paulie Wallace of Sky Serpent fame, Drakari Man, he came 11th in battle points. Battle points. And then came 1st overall and got a golden ticket. So he was the most beloved, you know.
Did he win every game for battle points?
No. He lost a game. So he went 4-1. So he beat 4 people and lost a game.
So you're saying you can lose a single game and still get a golden ticket?
Yeah.
Oh, who knew?
Yeah. So, yeah. So, even if you lose your first game, or you win your first game, lose your second game, you can still go on win 3 games.
So you could lose your second game and still get a golden ticket?
Yeah.
Oh, who knew?
You just have to be liked. Not that, but you have to just not be a dickhead. I think, and this, what I want is all tournaments to do this. I want there to be 2 lots of first, second, third. For the people that care about winning and being really good at the game.
Yeah.
Which we've kind of done since 8th edition now.
I think you're right.
We've been so heavily concentrated on being the best army, the best list, the best everything. we've serviced them enough now, right? And we'll keep servicing them. But I think the concept of a battle points winner and an overall winner, you are like this. These three people, these people that score top 10, these are the archetypes of what we want players to be.
Yeah.
And I've said to Adam that I want, I said I want the channel to sponsor, overall winner. But if you don't want to do it, I'll do it.
What, Beachhead?
Beachhead,
yeah, we can do that. Well, it depends what they want from us for it. But
just
yes.
I don't know.
I'll have that conversation with Adam.
I'm an award, a medal.
I'm interested in sponsoring a soft score a soft score edition, which has 2 levels of who comes first.
Because I think it means that there's a lot of people out there that aren't really good at the game. For instance, you want to go to for me, this was a weekend where I went and had fun. I had 5 incredible games. I went crazy golf. I went axe throwing. I ate pizza. I had a great time and I had a lot of fun with my friends. And I won 2 games, lost 3 games, had loads of fun with my opponents, but I still had the sense of accomplishment by coming 12th overall.
Yeah.
That my just being there meant that other people also had fun.
Yeah. So how many people were there in total?
62.
Wow. For the first 2 games?
For the first 2 games, there was 62. Then it dropped to 61.
And then did it stay 61 for the rest of the weekend?
Yeah.
So only one person dropped from the whole event?
Yeah.
Oh.
So, it was really, really good. I like the mats because Games Workshop's terrain layout's very different to everyone else's in the sense that Games Workshop's terrain is on a large area piece of...
So you went up on the Friday, didn't you?
Yeah.
So you went up on the Friday, played some games at Warhammer World, chilled out for a bit, drank a few beers, and then went to the crazy golf.
I went to a crazy golf
where
place.
I have the best image of you.
It's called Glory Holes.
I have the best image of you that I don't know if I'm allowed to put on YouTube, so I haven't. But it's incredible.
It's not a real one, so you're all right.
No, but it is relatively graphical.
It's very wet.
Yes.
I was saying at the time, the artwork is incredible.
I'm sure, yeah.
I was like, the way they've managed to make it look wet and realistic with just spray cans and paint.
So that was first Friday. Saturday, the event starts at what time? Because what I've said as the title is, the title of the stream, I don't know if you've seen it, but the title of the stream is everyone should experience.
100%.
Because that's what you said. That was your phrase.
I said everyone should experience Golden Ticket, or just a Warhammer World Tournament. So the game starts at 10, but they say get there at 9. You get there at 9. Bugman's is open. You can have drinks. You can get a nice breakfast. You get a nice fried breakfast there if you want.
Bugman's up and running again, wasn't it now?
Yeah. All back up and running.
Okay.
It looks lovely. It's more open now. They took the roof off the bar and pushed it back a bit. It's really, really nice. You get food there. You can get registered, go put all your stuff in the big main hall.
Yep.
You just kind of relax, chill out, get comfortable, ready before it starts. They do the little talk, and then they then do the pairings after the talk. And then you go to your table to have your first game. The table's really nice. So it's the normal. It's a 6x4 mat, but with a 60x44 print inside it, and then there's a nice little black side.
Is
table.
it like mouse map material?
Yeah,
it's nice.
And then the actual map itself, day 1 had the same 3 layouts, but 3 different deployments, and the bases of the terrain are actually printed into the map.
I really like
it because normally their stuff has lots of people have wood or perspex sheets that go down and you put the terrain on. It slides around and there's always fucking arguments. But by having it printed onto the mat, you can lift terrain up and there's no
I wish they sold them. It's genius. It really is genius.
I think we need to get hold of someone who can print mats to make their own version.
I have news on that, but I can't share it. I'll talk to you about it off stream.
Right. So
news on that, Joe, coming soon.
All right, cool, lovely. So yeah, so it's like that. And you my first game was against a lovely guard player, which was really, really nice. I took an army that I knew I wasn't going to win with, but I didn't want to get smashed either.
Yeah, okay. What did you run?
I ran Dark Angels.
You did.
I took 15 Deathwing Knights.
Of course.
The look on most of my opponents when they're the Lion and 15 Knights, and they're like, ooh. Ooh, one of those games, is it?
Yeah.
But I'm glad I did because, as I was saying into the group chat earlier, this weekend really showed off how mental mortal wound spam is for a lot of armies.
Yeah.
Especially Death Guard and Fountain Sun. So you have your first game, you finish, you can go around the shop. Your ticket, you get like a little name badge. I left it in my car. That gets you into the Hall of Miniatures as well. So whenever you want, you can just go around the Hall of Miniatures. You can buy toys. It's fine because the gaming hall is literally right next to the shop.
How convenient.
When you finish your first game, lunch is provided in the staff cafeteria. Free lunch. It's almost like a school lunch because you get your tray, your wet tray that's been like dried in the rainforest, and then some very happy person lets you pick from a different meal selection.
What did you have?
I had Hunter's chicken.
Oh,
so barbecued chicken with cheese and stuff.
Bacon.
And bacon. And
I love
a choice of like
chicken,
mashed potato and rice or chips, and then a salad, and there's pudding. There's like a giant chocolate brownie or thing.
Stu says, the line of 50 nights, I can see why you didn't come higher with favourite game votes.
Look, I went from 40th to 12th, so it's not about the thing is though, right? You could take a good army and not be a dickhead. Who'd know? You can go to a tournament and win, and both players can have fun. The onus is on the player running it. I think I was saying this to things yesterday. I think the most important thing when you play a game of Warhammer, especially at tournaments with strangers that people don't know you, the most important thing is that that person has fun.
Well, logically speaking,
that you're both trying to do it.
If both people at the tabletop, one of their main focuses was to ensure that their opponent has fun, and logically speaking, there should never be a bad game.
Yeah.
Because if you're both making sure the other's trying to have fun, well, that should be good. It's when you have a situation where one of you's trying to make sure the other person has fun, and the other person's trying to make sure they only have fun.
Yeah.
That's when you get the mismatch.
So two places I've really started to notice it: Warhammer World and Beachhead specifically. I don't know if it's turned into an advert for Beachhead, but it probably will. We have got a code for Beachhead. Is
it working again now?
I don't know. I'll have to ask Adam. But is that when people get together, they go. Some of the questions they go, "Oh, hi, my name's blah blah," or you go up and be like, "Oh, I read the app that told me who my opponent is," and you go like, "Oh, hello, Steve. Hello, Chris. Hello, Jeff." Whatever.
Can't be the first one because he's already gone.
He left, right? But all right, Colin. You know, and then you go. And you go like, "Oh, what are you playing? What am I playing? I saw a bit of your list, but like." And then they were like, "Have you played this? Have you played it?" So most people go, "Have you played against Thousands? Have you played against Death Guard before?" And then they'll explain your army, and they're like, "Oh, so there's no gotchas. Here are my stratagems, but feel free to ask." You know, you have like a bit of talk, a bit of dialogue with your opponent, get to know them. And Warhammer World events, people always buy you drinks. It's glorious. You buy drinks for them, they buy you drinks. Wonderful.
And you're right, I have had similar experience at Beachhead.
Yeah.
Legit.
Everyone's just like super chill.
And at Beachhead, you definitely want to take them up on it as well because it's fucking expensive in there.
Warhammer World's
not the worst.
It's not the worst. It's really good. And so you have your lunch and then you go and have your 2 games. Good break in between. But the thing is, it's not like when you go and do like a lot of tournaments when you're in between your game, you just kind of just sit there waiting for the next round. It's like you're at Warhammer World.
Yeah.
You can go and shop. You can go talk to staff. You can go talk to other players. You can do the Hall of Miniatures.
Raid the skips.
Raid the skips. Yeah, you're not that. You're literally like a 5-minute drive from like the town centre, with good traffic, obviously. Like warlords around the corner if you're so inclined. So yeah, you do your 3 games. It's all registered through BCP. Next day, on the Sunday, they say be here by 9:45. Or your scores for round 4 get zeroed.
And 9:45 is a reasonable time, isn't it?
Well, they say registration on because you have to re-register in the morning because they need to make sure everyone's there right before they do it. So registration is at 9, but they say be here for 9:45 because it's a hard start. 10 o'clock is starting. 4 people got zeroed.
So they followed through.
They followed through on it because most tournaments be like, oh, if you don't get your list in time or you don't register on time, score gets zeroed. I've never seen it happen. It's like an empty threat. But they were like, fucking do it.
Iron fist.
And I like that because it's like so we've talked about this before, is that when you buy a ticket to a tournament, you enter into like a social contract with the people running that tournament. You are buying in to accepting the terms of their event.
Yeah, I'd agree.
It's kind of like the Premier League, right? Teams are part of it, and they have rules that they have to follow if they want to do well in it.
Yeah.
Right? Not that they all do it, and but there are fines in place for not fulfilling this stuff, right?
You're right. I don't
have a.
You're not a football person, so I'm interested.
Yeah. So basically, like,
is that like PSR or FFP
or PS4, PS5, Xbox, SNES? I don't fucking know, but it's the case. But it's in all sports, right?
Yeah.
If you want to do a thing at an event, there are rules to follow, and if you don't follow those rules, there should be a punishment involved.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
Of some sort.
Of some sort, right? And the thing is, though, like, just turn up on time. That's all they're asking. Just be, unless someone's like, I can't come in. I've just rear-ended the silent killer of a tram in Nottingham. You know. Fine, right? But not turning up because you're hungover, right? Like, I have the backup of when I'm hungover, my partner phones me up and goes fucking mental at me.
Yeah.
But she's right to do so.
Yeah.
All right. So I think, like, so they've zeroed 4 people, which is really good. And then you play round 4, you have lunch again. It was stew. Lovely, like, beef stew.
I love a good stew.
With mash. Oh, it was really good.
Yeah.
And then you have round 5. And then
Yeah.
And then after round 5, they go, everyone, please put in your 2 favourite player and your 2 favourite game votes. Right?
Yeah.
If you don't do this, your score will get zeroed. Because it's like, it's just being nice.
So to get some kind of points, all you'd have to do is play 2 games and then put in one of those opponents or both of those opponents.
No, both, because you're 2. You vote twice. If you played 2 people and then you dropped.
So you've got to pick 2 different favourite game votes.
Yeah, 2 different people, 2 different armies.
So you could play 2 people, you could put each one of those into each of the slots for favourite game and favourite army, and you'd get some points.
Yeah.
But if you didn't do that, you'd get 0.
You get 0. So, but it's also common courtesy, right? Because what they're basically saying is if you don't vote for people, you're hurting their score, right? And if someone votes for you and you don't vote for someone else, you're a dickhead. So they're just saying, like, look, if you're not a decent human being.
The shame of this is, though, right? So I think this is all positive stuff, and I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of this stuff is things that I would like to implement with hobby house events as well.
Yeah,
because I think it encourages the right kind of player.
I've said like any event I run here, whatever it is, I'm going to have soft scores.
Yeah, I'd like to both those things you talked about.
Yeah. And I also I'd also have them on events that don't have a first, second, third. I just want to have favourite player, favourite army, because then it means that it's weird that we have to incentivize these things, but we do also have to incentivize these things. It's like, just be nice.
This is where I was getting at, right? So I want to introduce things to Hobby House. I think it's important that we apply the soft scores. I think it's important we have an overall winner. I like the idea of having a rule in place for people, because when I went to No Retreat, but when Pardo would do the preamble before we got started, he would say, because specifically when I first went to No Retreat up in the retreat centre, all the drinking was in the same hall as you were playing, and he was like, you're going to stay up till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning drinking beer and playing Warhammer, and we did. He's like, please just remember you have an opponent in the morning. Some people have spent a lot of money to fly a long way to come and play this event, so just don't be a wreck so they can actually have an enjoyable game. And it's like, it's a shame you have to say that, because people can't control themselves. Yeah. And I think having rules in place, so again, I think I like the idea of having something like round 4 will be zeroed if you're not here on time. I like that, I do.
Yeah.
Where I'm going with it is, I do think it's a bit of a shame that we have to put rules in place to stop people from being dickheads in a game of toy soldiers.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, right? I think a lot of people care about this hobby. I, for one, very much care about this hobby, and I care about having fun at events, right? But there's also people that do the hobby but only care about themselves, right? Or they only care about their enjoyment, not other people's enjoyment. So they're like, they might have had a bit too much fun on Saturday night, and then they're like, just want to do round 4. Like, it's Warhammer's problem; they can sort it out. And I think by the threat of going, we'll zero your score, you'll get nothing, which obviously will ultimately affect your event. The people will be like, oh, I don't really want that to happen.
Well, this is where I do like I do like Beachhead because I like when I go to Beachhead, I never play the first round on the Sunday morning.
Yeah,
I never do. But what I always do is I tell Adam the Saturday night.
So yeah, but the thing is that like Beachhead is this is I think this is different because it was a golden ticket event.
Yeah,
this is people playing to basically have not just a free trip to America, but potential to win the opportunity to be labelled as this year's best Warhammer 40k player, right? And that's quite a big accolade, right? End of next year, no one will care. But this year, well, they'll care, obviously, themselves, because it's a big achievement, right? They've gone all that way, they've travelled the world, they've done a thing.
Do you remember who won it last year?
Not a fucking clue. I think it's Manny Chima.
It was.
Right? And the only reason I remember it being Manny Chima is there's a picture, because he got given a free Titus. That's the only reason I remember it, is because there's a picture of him holding Titus.
It was Manny. I remember, yeah. It was Manny.
But I think like it's a big achievement. It's doing but whereas Beachhead does have the opportunity to win a golden ticket, right? But it's also an incredibly more relaxed and social event. I think it's like Beachhead is becoming a lot. It used to be incredibly competitive, very cutting edge. All the big boys used to go there. Now it's more like just a fun lads' weekend. And enjoying and it's a lot more relaxed.
I sincerely hope that Beachhead continues to sell out its tournament with that vibe intact as well, because I think if you can get that recipe right, if you can get that vibe correct and be selling out at the same time, for me that is the perfect recipe for a long and lasting event for years to come.
But I also like the idea that like making the importance of an overall winner, best favourite game, favourite army, right, is that there might be someone that wins a golden ticket for winning all 6 games, like absolutely slam dunking all of their opponents for 100 points, right? But there might be someone who plays all 6 rounds, 3 of their opponents drop, right? Because they've had too many beers, or they just want to have a walk around a convention hall, but they still have the opportunity to make sure that those people that have dropped remember that they had a really good time against you, and they will vote for you. You know,
the dropping thing's an odd one though, right? Because at Beachhead you're allowed to drop, and it's well documented that you can drop in and out as you want. So I don't think we have a problem with this at Beachhead. But at almost every other event, dropping is quite contentious, and the reason being is because I assume if Games Workshop are running a 40k tournament, the likelihood is they're following their own tournament companion, and therefore they're using BCP and probably using their own pairings and placings metrics. Yeah. And if they're using their own placings metrics, one of the placings metrics I believe they use is strength of schedule. And strength of schedule looks at the opponents you've had and how well they've also achieved to decide how tough the opponent was, and it kind of grades it or ranks it based on. So if you play an opponent who loses all 4 games, you score and you have a win, and Joe plays an opponent who wins all 5 games, Joe's opponent counts as a harder opponent overall, so he places above me because mine lost all 4 games and I had an easier time, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So if you drop and your score goes to 0, then if a player plays you and beats you, and then the next 4 games or 3 games you don't play a single game because you drop, well then it looks like they've had a really easy opponent.
Yeah.
And then it negatively impacts their score.
Yeah.
And what I like about favourite game and favourite player votes is that can then pull your score back up if someone fucks you because
look at this, right?
For example.
Dan came 3rd, but he placed like 42nd.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
None of his opponents dropped, but some of his opponents did really, really well. But it's a case of like he still only won 2 games out of 5. But those favourite game votes place a higher importance and value in the game than just winning, and that's what I really, really like. Is that like it helps people remember that it is just a game.
Yeah, it
is just about enjoyment.
It is just a game, and I think too many people forget about that. And sometimes even you or I in the middle of a game can go and maybe lose ourselves a little bit because people get excited about winning. People do like to win in general, but it is a game of toy soldiers. It does sound legitimately after chatting to Joe post event. That if you can get, I know for some of you abroad it's going to be a little bit more difficult, but if you can get to a Warhammer World event like this one, even if you're not interested in winning a golden ticket, it feels like they're running very good events now.
Yeah, I think they've really because it's Warhammer World. You don't see a lot of the big boys. It's not like a Shark Tank. You get a couple regulars who are big competitive players, but they tend to be they're like, I'm going to Warhammer World, just take it a lot more chill. They're still going to win their games, but I think because you're in the Warhammer Mecca, as it was, it's like a religious place for us all, that you kind of behave differently, right?
Yeah.
And I behave differently at playing at a table versus 5 strangers than I would someone who I know.
Well, the vibe of an event also will. Yeah. You're right. The vibe of an event in general can dictate the way you play. If you go to a super sweaty major event and everyone's super tuned in and try hard and it's all L-shaped polystyrene ruins and there's no effort, but it's just functional because that's all we care about. I guarantee you'll probably play slightly differently for most people anyway. Than if you go to a place where the terrain's really pretty and it's all the vibe's really chill, it's really relaxed.
And also it's Nottingham's just a really nice city. I love being in Nottingham. There's something about it.
Rich says, I bring a sledgehammer and lean it against the table so my opponent knows the consequences of winning. Yeah. I give it a little tap on the top when I'm getting ones to keep it on edge. It's fucking great.
If it works, it works. You know?
Yeah. You do use her.
Yeah, I think I'd like to do more. So I'm doing a spearhead event tomorrow there. So I'm very excited.
Warhammer World again.
Yeah, Warhammer. Me and Mr. the Josh are driving. I'm driving to Josh's tonight.
Where's Josh's?
Gloucester. It's only a 2-hour drive. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
But I was it's a 2-hour drive from my house to his house.
Good job you're playing Paddy then. The game will be over early.
And then 2 hours from his house to Warhammer World. So I was if I go home tonight, it's an hour and a bit home. So get home at midnight. And then I basically get 4 hours sleep before I drive up. Whereas if I drive to Josh's, I get a little bit longer, maybe. I don't know.
And you get some company.
Yeah,
and he gets a lift.
He gets a lift. I get some company. There's a lot to be said about driving 4 hours or even 2 hours alone compared to someone that you done an event with.
Yeah.
I think driving home after an event with someone people is really good as well. Yeah.
On a Wednesday, thought he had a full working week. He's not even put a leave pass in for it, Stu.
It's because I work my own hours, don't I?
Well,
so I just make the hours up other times. So the work for this weekend, I'd already done the week before.
Well, I've always said if the painted stuff keets coming in the studio, I don't care what you do.
Did I not walk through the door this morning?
Exactly. This is what I'm saying. I've always said as long as the stuff comes in and it's painted, I don't care.
Yeah.
I've always said that. That's the kind of boss.
Yeah. So
if shit's done, I don't care. Crack on.
Yeah. I get it done anyway.
Yeah.
And also they do best in faction. But not how most people do best in faction.
Well, they do best in faction. Joe, would you like to show the people what's hanging around your neck right now?
Oh, did you notice?
He's got a medal.
I'm wearing it because I've never won a medal before, a physical medal.
Really?
Yeah.
In anything ever?
Apart from participation, and they can get in the bin. I don't like participation awards.
Is that not what this is?
Well, no. So basically, I'm best in faction. Games Workshop do a best in faction. But you can only do it if there's more than 2 players of that faction there.
Right.
Because you have to compete against people in the same bracket. They do have a best of the others, right? So if there's a bunch of people that are only one of one Sisters player, one Tyrannid, one Thousand Sons player turn up, right? They clump them all together and the person who does the best out of those wins, right? But
how many Dark Angels players were there, Jay?
3. No. I only won 2 games, so I think it's based on overall.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense.
Because do
you know what? I like the concept that you have a first, second, third battle points, a first, second, third overall, and all the other awards like best in faction are tied to overall rather than battle points.
Yeah,
I like that differentiation. I'll be honest, I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, and yes, I've got best in faction Dark Angels. What I like about these is they can order as many as they want and they can use them for any event because it just says Warhammer 40,000 best in faction Dark Angels. So it means just lie to say that I went to every event, but I won't.
Does the medal allow you to skip a queue at say the post office? He will certainly try, Chris.
It basically, if Philip Schofield had one of these, he wouldn't have got in so much trouble. I
mean, I think he might have done.
Nah. Just club people with it. It's really heavy.
Is it?
If I'm honest.
It looks like a solid bit of kit.
It's quite heavy. Not chocolate.
No.
Yeah. And our group did all right, actually, that went. I got this. Tom from RFW, he came third for best painted army, so he got in the cabinet.
Oh, fancy.
That with his Lamenter's army. So he got a trophy for that. Dan obviously came third overall, but also got most favourite game votes. And then Adam came third with his one. Simon, who's in chat, he wants either a chainsword or a best painted. So he's going for. But it's really like
what's the chainsword?
So the chainsword is the award first, second, third. It's like a Space Marine hand holding a chainsword. The trophy is. And playing like this tournament's really made me want. Like unlike most other events, this really revitalizes my love for the hobby.
Good.
And like my want to do more and try harder. And I wasn't sad that I didn't get in the cabinet because I didn't spend hours on my Dark Angels army. But I'm like, but I do want to try and get in the cabinet. Funnily enough, I've had 3 or 4 armies in a Warhammer World cabinet for best painted. I wasn't one running them at the time. Like I've sold them to people.
How do you just get selected?
So what happens is that on the Saturday, the Warhammer World team walk around the tables, and then they do like a short list of like favorite armies, and then they pick either 6 or 8, and then they go through and then and then on the Sunday during game 4, they go, well done, you've been selected to go in the cabinet after you finish the game, put it up, and then when everyone's finished their lunch, they go and vote for their favourite one.
Who is it that does the walking around though? Because one of the issues I always have at some of these events is that quite often non-painting people will walk round, and I've seen armies that have been nominated for best painted that are not, in terms specifically of a skill level, as good as other armies that aren't nominated, but perhaps they're more striking because they use bolder colours.
So there was an army in there that I would say probably wasn't the best painted, but was really nicely converted.
That's fine,
right? So what it is they're not just like best painted, but it's like best for conversions, best theme, best blah blah. And people convert. Like there's people like there's one where there was a Tau army, but it's all based on like the IDNF fish kind of thing. So like the giant turtle with a big rail cannon thing. Yeah. Like it was not the best paint job, but just really good fun conversion style things. So I think that's what they look for. You know,
I'm into that because, like I said, I've seen people like if you use a muted scheme and you do a beautiful job of edge highlighting it and shading it and that kind of stuff. I've seen those people lose out to heavy airbrush, kind of fucking shit, fucking pre-shady nonsense.
But some like airbrush stuff that's basic can be very, very high contrast and bright and exciting.
Yeah, but
then that basic airbrush can be on a nicely converted army.
But of course. I'm not saying I'm not saying you can't use an airbrush, but I'm just saying there's been times when people for best painted specifically, where people have lost out. Where you're like, from a painting perspective, that is a significantly higher skill level than that one.
Yeah, but the winner is voted for by the players.
Yeah, that's good.
Which is the most important thing. Okay. And you basically vote for 2.
Yeah, okay.
You vote for 2 and the one that comes out the highest kind of thing.
Right, we're going to jump into you people in chat. I'd love to know what you guys think about the sort of things that Joe's talking about, specifically around the soft scoring and stuff like that. Like whether you like the concept of there being an overall winner of the event, which is heavily impacted by the soft score, how much the soft score should impact it. I'd love to know what you think about things like zeroing scores if you're late. I feel like not being late. I'm a military person though, and I know you're all going to rip me for the streams, but I feel like when you're going to a thing and there's people waiting there for you to be involved in the thing, being late is just not. There are reasons, but for the most part,
if you're like my car broke down,
yeah, of course, absolutely, yeah.
But then there's
some lunatic in a blue BMW coming the other way crashed into me. You know, that's one of those things as well that happens.
So I think that's just the most important. What did happen, which I didn't like about the event, because it irks me, right? Is that first and second place battle points was Emperor's Children bugged me more than it should, because it proves that they're really fucking good, right?
Were they using the new points?
No.
Okay.
Old points, so they were like 100 points down. Because basically, we had to submit our army lists last weekend, which came before the Balanced Data Set. So we were using post-Balanced Data Set points and draw. So I couldn't take the Dark Angels new detachment. But this weekend showed me how fucking mental the new Dark Angel detachment is.
Yeah.
And the new Lion. Because I was like, I wish I could. So if there's basically the week before, you have to be registered and submitted your list. Because if you submit your list on the Saturday morning of the event, if your army's had points changes and your app's updated, your army's going to be wrong. So they want you to do it before.
10% of their units are good, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? So this is what irks me, is that like Emperor's Children won because... But both armies were kind of the same in the sense that like it was triple Demon Prince, triple Law Cacophonist, triple Noise Marines, 2-3 Rhinos, Lucius, and then Infractors, Tormentors with Lords. And I was just like... I'm just annoyed that like there's like you're not seeing the other stuff in the codex. Like no one's running flawless blades.
Turns out, chat, Emperor's Children really good. Must just be a skill issue.
Well, I want flawless blades. Like there was like 7 or 8 Emperor's Children players there, right? Not a single flawless blade was on the table
because they're shit for their points.
Because they're awful, and I was just like, but they're incredible models. I want to see them being played.
They're some of my outside of the Wolves refresh. They're some of my favourite models they've done in recent time. They're beautiful, the flawless blades.
Yeah.
I have 6 at home to build. I don't even have a massive interest in building a full Emperor's Children army. I just think they're gorgeous. So, you know.
So Clem Fandango says that Boris is a really good... Boris is an incredible player. I've never seen Boris do bad. I'm not saying they were bad people, right? Like, I was sat next to... I stood next to Boris once he played multiple times. His army is beautiful. Stunning Emperor's Children army. Loads of really nicely converted models in it. Nice converted Demon Princes. Every single one of his opponents seemed to be having a really, really good time. I think... I was playing a lovely guy called Lee with Space Wolves, and basically they played out turn 1. Boris went first, moved into the middle. His opponent shot at him, didn't kill enough. So his opponent was like, shook his hand. It was like, good, I'm done. We don't need to play the rest of this. And they just sat down, got the beers in.
That's my kind of Warhammer.
That's how Warhammer should be. Like his opponent wasn't lamenting his loss and getting a right arse on. Got the beers in, sat down, had a great chat conversation.
Yeah, I think I'd have played out at least another battle round, but
I mean, they could have done if they wanted to, but I think his opponent was like, we know what's going to happen here. Like,
yeah, no, I do get it. I think if at that point I'm like, you know what, we'll play out to battle round 2 and 3 because you never know what happens. The dice might really spike, and they could, right? Dice can really, really spike. Play it out. We'll see how it goes. But, you know, fair play. Boris is a good dude anyway, to be fair. So I've only met him on a handful of occasions. Right, chat, we're going to see what you guys think. We are also currently only on 31 of the finest new members. If you want to support the channel, there are a number of ways you can do it. As always, hitting those magical YouTube buttons is the easiest, cheapest way to do it because it's all free by hitting like and hitting subscribe. We are closing in rapidly on 35,000 subs, so thank you so much to all those people that have been joining us recently. If you want to support us further, you can do it monetarily. All the content is free all the time. We don't paywall any content. However, in exchange, if you enjoy the content, you know, a little donation would be lovely. Normally a membership. So you can become a member of the channel if you do get access to a Discord server. That is paywall locked only because if you open that up to everybody, you get all kinds of lunatics, bots, con artists and scammers in your Discord server. So that's locked behind the paywall. But you can become a member of the channel. If you're already a member of the channel, have a look. There's a bunch of different benefits. If you're a Jarl tier member, you get a Combat Patrol box. Well, you don't get a Combat Patrol box. You could win a Combat Patrol box. If you're a Thane, you get access to WhatsApp chats, etc. And then you can also, if you're already a member, you can gift memberships to other people. Like I said, we're on 31 right now. We do typically target 100 a show so we can keep the lights on in this studio, keep Joe fed and happy and going to Warhammer tournaments and keep me fed at the moment.
I'm at another golden ticket event next month as well.
Oh, yeah. I have the disposables for all these events.
No, someone had a free ticket.
Oh, right.
A spare ticket, and I was like, I'm in.
Equally,
it's Age of Sigmar. Very excited.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna basically. I already know I am not going to win that tournament because Age of Sigmar competitive level is very, very good and very, very high. So I'm just going to take a fun army list and just bomb around and get the beers in. just going to be the same as this weekend that's just gone, and might go and touch up the paint job a little bit on the army.
I would really like to work on Lumineth once I've built my Space Force. Genuinely, I'm getting the itch for AOS again.
I was talking to Big Ash, who went to Bristol, and I was like, we've got to do a Warhammer World event. Just got to do some stuff, got to have fun. And I really like Paddy and Dan and Tom all went to Bristol this weekend. I'm like, it would have been better at Warhammer World. It would have had a much more exciting. Instead of being in a sports hall in Bristol, being in Warhamster World. And I think it's much better if you all get the same hotel, because we all got there on Friday, played a couple of games of Warhammer World, went back to the hotel, got booked in, sat outside in the sun, had some drinks, and then went and played crazy golf. Well, had dinner and then played crazy golf.
Yeah, I think I am, like I said, I am getting the itch for AOS at the moment again as well. So, not the same itch that I sometimes get after a weekend, but
Anyway.
Clive the Kiwi, who is on his way to the UK imminently, and will himself be going to Warhamster World as part of that visit. Thank you for 5 gifted memberships.
I hope, Clive the Kiwi, that it's sunny when you come here. And not raining, because it's just be like being home then, wouldn't it?
It's supposed to rain for the last 3 or 4 days of this week, and it's supposed to get nice again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Clive, for the 5 gifted. It's really helpful. All gifted members are incredibly helpful right now, team. I'll be honest with you. Thank you so much, Limey Panda, for the $5. I see the intrusive thoughts didn't win out. Congratulations for best in faction, Joe. I hope it's the first of many.
I hope so too. Thank you. The thing is, though, there are times when you're playing when you go, are you sure about that? Is that a rule?
Yeah.
Right? Or how you score points or whatever. There are times, but it's all about how you deal with the situation. Because if you go because some people if you go, you're a fucking liar, I don't trust you, it becomes a bit of a problem, when you start accusing people. But you go are you sure about that? Because you could, I sometimes lie in it, and I'm I've seen it played another way. I've got a friend that's played it this way. Can you check? Because then I can tell them that they're wrong. Can you show me where it is?
Yeah, framing it can be.
I can point to them and be like, you cheated, And I think how you confront people with situations will dictate how the next 2 hours of your life are. Right? I think that's quite easy. And also I think sometimes I've played against people who have come to the table and they need to win. They have to win. Their head will fucking explode if they don't win. And I'm the kind of person Paddy. That's like Paddy. But Paddy does the same thing I do, right? Where I go, you need this more than I do. Right? So I just try and make it fun for them. Bring them out their shell,
Yeah.
Be like, I want the lion to fight your lord, Or let's do a kill tally on how many of the fucking ridiculous tanks you've bought, your army's just gonna fucking murder everything. Let's see how many models you can kill. Just make it fun for them so they calm down a bit, And what you might find is that you have fun, Because if your opponent's moody and they just want to win, and I've had games where I've stood there in fucking silence and they just pointed at what they want to do and then rolled dice, which only really works if you know what their army does as well. But to avoid that situation, you can make it easier, and then they get a bit more relaxed. And sometimes people are just a bit socially awkward.
Yeah,
and don't know how to deal. They might I sometimes have a bit of a resting bitch face. Sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. So, and some people are just socially awkward and they just need a bit of G'ing up a bit.
I try not to be too loud and obnoxious when I first walk to the table with a person, because I can be. Try and gauge sort of their demeanour and their character. And I'm very open very quickly. I don't fucking care about... one of the first things I say, I don't care about winning. I don't. So, I'm going to have fun, and I'm going to be perfectly happy with you playing with a 10. Are you the same? And 99 times out of 100, they'll be like, yeah, cool. And then 99 times out of 100, that's the game you'll have. And on occasion, if it's quite close and they can see them winning it, they'll flip and they'll change, and they'll be a bit of a knob. And sometimes I think I should call them on it, because we've been playing with intent and relaxed and chilled up until this point, but now it's impactful. You've decided to change the way you're playing. But I'm like, you know what? I don't care. If you need that, then fine, dude. I'm going to keep being happy. You're going to keep thinking of having a good time. We're both going to go away smiling, and I'm going to be like, it was a bit shit, but fuck it. I'm genuinely not bothered about winning. So, it's interesting, isn't it?
Super ridiculous. There is an above average amount of it, but I think it's manageable a lot of the time. There's only been like 1 or 2 times where I've played the most abhorrent human beings on this planet, right?
And that was in your previous job. Thank you, Cray, for the 10 gifted membership.
Yeah, but I think just don't treat your opponents with contempt and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Do you have a hope for Cray, Joe?
Cray. I hope that the next time you have a kebab and they ask you if you want salad, they don't basically give you an entire field's worth of lettuce and like. There's sometimes when you ask, like they have to. I feel like salad in a kebab should be illegal, right? Because they take meat out to put more fucking salad in.
Yeah,
that's my shit.
We were talking about this last night. I'd like to have a Joe opinion here. A Joe opinion.
Yeah.
What is the best filler for a cold sandwich? Because if it's hot, bacon sandwiches win, right? If it's a cold sandwich, what's the best filler?
I do like a bacon cold BLT, like from Tesco's. But then I like a ploughman sandwich.
Do you like I like a ploughman sandwich.
If I see one, I'm like, ooh. Yeah.
Are you a person who would put crisps, chips to Americans into a sandwich for a crunchy sandwich experience?
Only Marmite.
Crisps and a Marmite sandwich?
Yeah, so if I got a Marmite sandwich, I can. If I got crisps, I might put them in. But it's not something like I've ever sought out.
And finally, as a British person, have you done the traditional British person thing where you try and put any food into a sandwich? Anything?
I used to love banana sandwiches when I was a kid.
Oh, really? Yeah. I've not heard that one.
So slices, so just like a sandwich, but you put your butter, banana, sprinkle some sugar.
I was saying to chat yesterday, I used to get my curry and rice from the mess in the army, a big plate of it, and then get 4 bits of buttered bread and just make curry sandwiches. It's fucking great.
My child used to really like pot noodle sandwiches.
I've had those pot noodle sandwiches,
and then my nan used to do it all the time, and it made me want to be sick. Was dripping sandwiches. So the fat from roast pork, roast beef, roast chicken. You pour it into a fucking bowl and put it in the fridge.
Yeah, and then put it in your bread.
And the next day, I was like, it's just a fat sandwich.
It's a fat sandwich,
not a pH fat.
No?
Just a fatty fat sandwich.
It's just a fat sandwich.
Like I was like, if you're putting chicken in with it, it's more of the meat that you had from the night before.
Yeah, with the dripping. That's fine. Yeah. But I haven't had what I realised last night I hadn't had for ages, right? Is I haven't had a chip butty in forever.
I haven't had a chip butty in ages either.
I love a chip butty, Joe.
Oh, I had a fucking incredible breakfast in Nottingham.
Yeah.
There's a nice little cafe called Yolk, YOLK, full stop. It's around the corner from TSN Arena, which is like Rob's place. But we drove up there. It's not that far away from Warhammer World, and I had a muffin, so cut in half, with salmon and poached egg on top. Incredible. But the problem is,
you had eggs Benedict.
Yeah, it was fucking incredible.
Right?
Because I am what some would really, really classify as a basic bitch.
Yeah, he is.
And as a kid, as grown my entire life, the only time I've ever consumed salmon is on Christmas Day. It was always like, it's Christmas morning, salmon for breakfast with scrambled eggs, on toast. And that was like luxury for me. So having that was like a little It's like in morning.
Eggs Benny and Eggs Royale are fucking. Oh, actually, I think.
Well, it was
Salmon's Eggs Royale?
It was called a Royale.
Yeah, so Salmon's
you
Eggs
get
Royale.
to choose your egg. You get fried.
Yeah. So Salmon's Eggs Royale, and I think ham is Eggs Benny.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And
Don't tier breakfast.
I know because most of the guys went for scrambled egg. I was like, I haven't had a poached egg in about 20 years.
They've got to be done right, though, haven't they?
You've got to cut into it.
Yeah. Not that you can bounce it off the wall and catch it in your gob. That's not a
Yeah.
poached egg, then. It's a rubber ball. Yeah. Right, anyway, Farmer George, thank you for the $10. He says, in reference to your Battlefield 1 streams, I now have a new tactic. It's called the Dempsey, whereby you sprint headlong into machine gun fire, pants down screaming. So far, varying degrees of success.
Yeah.
It's
always a bit...
Exclamation mark VAG, chat. VAG, all one word. I've been playing a lot of Battlefield 1 lately. It's fucking great. So good, Joe. So good. So good. So good, Joe. Deeks, how's it going, dude?
Good.
Why aren't you a Thane again yet?
Peanut butter and banana in a sandwich. Oh, I like the sound of that.
It does sound interesting, doesn't it? Thank you,
Crunchy
Mr. Harborn of the Vortex Games variety, for the 5 gifted memberships.
Thank you, Harborn Games.
Absolute legend. Poached egg on black pudding, yes. Are you a black pudding fan, Jay?
No.
You don't eat fried pig's blood?
Well, that's it. No, sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. It's very much dependent on what I'm being served at the time.
Right, okay.
I don't like it when it's like really like crumbly dry
Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
because it just tastes
But
like
a crisp on the edge is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when you just feels like you're just eating clay.
Yeah.
Um,
What do we hope for Mr. Vortex? And please don't make it stock related. All of his last hopes have been stock related.
I hope that a mobile strip club breaks down outside your shop, and they'll have to come into your shop for warmth, you know, and as thanks
On account of them not wearing anything.
yeah, and they'll do a show.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Evan, thank you for the 1 gifted. Rossonero, thank you for 10 gifted memberships, you absolute legend. We're on 39 right now, chat. We're 1 away from 40.
I hope, Rossonero, that you get gifted a heated toilet seat.
Ooh. Isn't it?
Cushioned one as well.
Yeah, we have got so many super chats. More than I was expecting on this topic, I'll be honest with you.
I've got to say, though, the only thing I've ever experienced bad about Warhammer World is every time I do a tournament there, one always blocks every time.
Toilets?
Yeah.
Is it you that blocks
I think,
it?
no, I just think it's like, what is it about Warhammer nerds that have terrible, like, toilet habits? I'm not tying you all with the same brush, but most of you.
Pots and fucking kettles, Joe.
Yours is the worst. The smell that comes out of your body.
That's a high protein diet.
It smells like you're dead inside.
And I go once a day.
You should probably go at least twice, I think.
No. High protein, once a day, job's a good one.
Yeah, and it's fucking awful. So, yeah, but like there was one toilet that no one wanted to go into. It looked like they were stood outside of the cubicle and tried to lob it in with a blunderbuss. It's fucking awful. I'm like, why can't people learn to go to the toilet?
It's all the dice that get flushed.
Yeah.
Larry Panda, thank you for the $2. How does one win a ticket? Do you drop round 2? I mean, you can still place it all right if you at least fill in favourite game votes and favourite army.
You could, in theory, like, if you got 5 favourite game votes, 5 favourite army votes, and won a painting award, there's very much a chance that you probably might be able to get one.
Sam, we miss you in Thanes. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Thank you so much, Si. 5 for the $5. Liam, I have to confess, I dropped round 5 because I was too tired. I did stay to cheer on the boys, though. Can you stare at me like that?
To be fair, right, we did ask. So we did ask round 5, can me and Si play each other? Because they were like, because I was like, we've both got 2 wins, we've both got 2 losses, and they were like, well, have a look at how well your opponents have done. But the rule is that you can't vote for each other if we can pair you.
That's fair.
I think that's fair. But at the time, it was basically our other opponents had done quite well. So if we got paired into each other, it could have affected the pairings. But they were like, it's something that they can consider and look at and do, you know. But unfortunately, we couldn't. But I know Tom and Dan played each other, and that was by sheer fluke, round 5.
Dan says, perfect, thank you. I hope I was able to help you finish. Clive, thank you for the $5. Have a good one, lads. I have a long day travelling. I'm going on an adventure. He's hobbiting from New Zealand to the UK for Warhammer Mecca. Have a safe travels, mate. Ben, thank you for the $9 New Zealand dollars. I'm lucky my local tournament scene is really good and social. My only concern is codex release for knights, especially with 2-week pre-orders. Why is that a concern, Ben? My only concern is codex release for knights, especially with 2-week pre-orders. I don't understand how that relates to the first part of the super chat. I'm lucky my local tournament scene is really good and social. That sounds great. That's amazing. My only concern is codex release for knights, especially with 2-week pre-orders.
I feel like he had a different conversation with himself at the same time and just
I
think like,
why is it a concern? I don't understand.
Well, you can't get one,
especially in New Zealand. Stuff stays up for a lot longer in New Zealand, doesn't it? I thought.
Well, because no one buys it because it's really expensive.
Yeah, like the limited edition Chaos ones that were out of stock here within about 5 minutes were in stock there for weeks.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know.
They had loads of copies of the Space Wolf box set at Warhammer World on the weekend.
Did they? I don't need more copies.
How many have you got now?
2. Got 1 that's been painted up for the Channel Army so we can use the new stuff.
Yeah.
And I've got 2 for me because it's just a fuck. Would you like a spare codex out of 1?
Yeah. I've got at my home on my desk. I've got like some of the limited edition codexes. Like
well, I have 2 codexes now. I don't need 2 codexes unless I keep one at home and bring one into here. But the likelihood is, if they release the limited edition ones, I might get that one as well for at home. But I don't have.
It would be nice to have a copy of it to look at.
I don't have any disposable right now, so it might have to wait.
There was a guy there, so I want to ask you about this. I thought it was a really nice. It was a really good idea. It wasn't the best painted, but it was nice conversions and stuff in there. There was a guy who was running Dark Angels, but he had Space Wolf units in his army. So his units painted like Space Wolves. And I was like, I don't mind the idea of different chapters painted up in the same army because they're like based the same and stuff. But those 2 specifically gripped me a little bit. Because they're not friends.
No, like but you used to be, like years ago, you used to be able to take them together as allies, didn't you? The Lion and the Wolf, and there were stratagems that you could use if you had them in the same allied army.
But they were like allies of convenience, weren't they? So there was also
I can't remember.
Convenience.
I'm sure it was like maybe 8th edition or something, where there was like you literally had Lion and Wolf strats where you had to. I don't remember.
Don't know.
So maybe it's like a layover from that because we know that the Lion and the Wolf don't like each other.
Yeah, because I really want to start working on my White Scars now. I want an army that I can potentially get into a cabinet. So White Scars will be the way. But part of me is like, can I just use those White Scars bikes in the Dark Angels for like Ravenwing Outriders kind of thing? But I'll probably just get a bunch. I think it's I don't want to buy Black Knight boxes.
No, I get it.
I don't want to buy them because they're really teeny weeny little bikes. And I don't want to get them and then them being replaced in like less than a year's time.
Yeah, I get it. I understand. I'd like to say I'll get them all for you, but like I said, at the moment, you've got fucking no chance, mate.
Well, I've got 18 Outriders, and I really want to do White Scars, but at the same time, I could also just add them into the Dark Angels at the same time. It's a very tough choice at the moment.
It is difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
Although, in Dark Angels, in the new detachment, they would get to -1 to wound.
But part of me was just like, I could just run them as Dark Angel. Because just do what everyone's always done throughout the last 15, 20 years, where there's a period of time where Ravenwing players use White Scars rules or the White Scars use Ravenwing rules. It's always been the way.
Thank you, Ramba, for the $10. What sort of person pays to attend an event and then leaves after losing in round 1 or 2? Hopefully there's a good academy that can teach them how to play firmly, but still in the spirit of the game.
You've got to assume that there's a reason to leave. But like...
After losing your second game?
You see it a lot in much larger events, though. Like a lot of bigger tournaments, it's very rare for Warhammer World to have drops. You might see, like, I went to 9th edition event at Goonhammer 1, and literally you've got to account for a 10% drop rate.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here slightly as well. And I'm going to side on a shocking side that people won't be expecting. But 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, events see people drop at various stages throughout the tournament.
Well, that's what I was saying, yeah.
And more often than not, it will go completely under the radar because who it is, no one really knows.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm not saying it's alien or different to any other event, and there could legitimately be a very good reason for it. Mm. We've thrown shade, but there could be a good reason for it.
Yeah.
And sometimes people have to go. And if that was a random person called Dave this weekend that left after round 2, we wouldn't be mentioning it at all. We just wouldn't be, because it wouldn't be something people are looking at. But then on the flip side, if you are an individual in the community who has put yourself up there on some kind of pedestal and you preach a certain level of attributes, you should probably be the personification of those attributes.
But does it all the time?
Well, this is my point, right? If you're gonna preach a thing, if you're gonna preach a behaviour, you should make sure that you demonstrate that behaviour. Because if you don't demonstrate that behaviour after preaching it, you're gonna get torn apart, and that's on you. This is as simple as that. Don't preach it in the first instance. We have a number one rule. If you want to be Great Hall Shield Wall in the tournament scene, the number one rule is very, very simple. Don't be a dickhead. It's as easy as that. And I actually say to most people, aim for the favourite game vote over aiming for the win, and then you're definitely playing in the spirit of the Great Hall, and that's what we want, right? Without doubt. I preach don't be a dickhead. If I went to a tournament and behaved like an actual dickhead to someone, I would expect to be called out on it. And I wouldn't be able to argue that. I'd be like, yeah, I was a dickhead. Fair, fine. You know, not like my normal dickhead self, mucking about and being a knob, but I mean like actually being an arsehole to someone. Do you know what I mean? And making they have a bad time.
Yeah.
And if someone called me on that, I wouldn't be able to defend that. I'd be like, yeah, I had a bad day. I was being a dickhead.
Yeah.
That's fair. You know? Thank you, Leaks, for the 5. First medal Joe has worn that wasn't bought of Captain Tom's daughter. How did I miss that earlier? That's fucking great.
I've got a model of Captain Tom.
I'm sure you have, yeah. Chat, we're also 1 member away from 40 members. After my little... I've got shit falling out my nose, which is opposite to some others, where it goes up. After my little comment, we could get up to 50 members, perhaps. Just saying.
Yeah.
Nice to support us and what we're trying to do instead, you know. Burns, thank you for the $10. The Lion and 15 Deathwing Knights. What was the rest of the list? 1 unit of servitors? So expensive. To update from last week, ATVs do work as cheap scoring screening unit in the Wrath detachment. Fast multi-melt help too. Fast multi-melt is going to always be good, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, so like it was the Lion, 15 Deathwing Knights, 2 Chaplains in Terminator armor, so 1 and 2 in each of the units. Librarian leading 10 Stern Guard, 2 units of Infiltrators.
Still with a Stern Guard.
The Azrael and 6 Inner Circle Companions. The Stern Guard are fucking brilliant.
How did Azrael...
I understand why people shit on the Stern Guard, because they do every single game.
How does Azrael and the Inner Circle Companions hold up?
If I'm honest, Inner Circle Companions, dog shit.
Why?
They just die.
But you like Blade Guards.
I said the problem is, but like the Blade Guard have the defensive ability of the reroll ones in combat, whereas the Inner Circle Companions don't.
But they also, the Inner Circle Companions also have the -1 to hit modifier.
Yeah, so Inner Circle Companions are good now.
Because
they weren't good for me 24 hours ago.
It's because of the detachment.
So the detachment has now made Inner Circle Companions good, right? Because -1 to hit and -1 to wound.
Okay.
What they need, and I didn't have in my list because I said very, very expensive, is they need like an impulsor or something to get around.
Okay.
Because they just, like, if your opponent shoots at them, they just die. And they're not very good at holding objectives because objectives are like...
But that's the same as Blade Guard. I used to love those.
So I really like Blade Guard, and I was like before. So I'm still tempted by Blade Guard because Blade Guard won't be -1 to hit. There'll still be -1 to wound, and have the re-rollable ones in combat.
Not against shooting though, which is you just said is a problem for inner circle companions.
Well, they're also shit in combat as well when someone attacks them. Not being able to re-roll your save is the problem, and more often than not, being -1 to hit is sometimes a negative because, like, people attack you with so many stuff that's re-roll all hits and with sustained hits or lethal hits. So go from 3 to 4 means that there's another load of dice you're supposed to re-roll.
I think it's time to sort of accept the fact that for the most part, Warhammer 40k has moved into a space whereby when you're looking to kill a unit, you're going to make sure that you can kill that unit to dead.
Yeah.
Right. So there's I feel sorry for a lot of detachments that say, if you lose a model, you get this. And if you've lost half of your unit, you get this. Because let's face it, most armies competitively will look at a unit and be like, I'm not going to kill half a unit. I'm going to flatten the whole fucking thing in one go. And there's nothing you can do about it.
It's like, so one of my games versus Thousand Suns. So everyone shits on the Stern Guard. And I'm like, they're really good. I played Tom, dropped Angron. 1 round of comp shooting. She turned up, dead. Played Thousand Suns this weekend. Turned up, killed Magnus.
How though?
Because they reroll all hit rolls with sustained hits, and they reroll all wound rolls with dev.
Because of Oath.
So
they're only phenomenal because of Oath.
Yeah. So, but the thing is though, the rest of my army hits on 2s.
Yeah.
So I don't really need Oath. So the Stern Guard unit is the only unit that realistically needs.
And I'm assuming you use the Librarian's Conclave devs on 5s.
You can
monsters.
do, but I was using what's it called? Gladius.
Weighted dice. Oh, okay.
So I was using Gladius Task Force. So the Librarian gives them sustained hits and a 4-up in run. So they could literally just turn up and just go pew pew pew. But if you come in 9 inches away, you get 30 shots, hitting on 3s, re-rolling everything. But 6 of those are heavy bolters and they're damage 2. And then the Librarian's got a D6 shot, which is also D3 dev wound damage.
The math still ain't math in there. You've just rolled hot. You say everyone shits on Stern Guard, but they're incredible. You've just rolled because the math doesn't work.
Yeah, but I roll the dice and the thing dies.
Yeah, no, I'm aware of that, Joe.
Right?
I'm aware of that.
And then, like, when I played into Mortarion, they turned up, took 10 wounds off of him, which is impressive considering he's also got the Feel No Pain. The Feel No Pain's the big swinger on that one. And then the lion went, "Hiya!" Dead.
How did he go?
Hiya! And that's what he does. Old
Yeah.
Charles Dance just comes in, claps him.
Okay.
Like, there was not a game where the Stern Guard didn't perform. The weakest unit in my entire army was Azrael and the Inner Circle Companions. They're just a waste of time.
I think you're just using them wrong.
There was one moment where they absolutely straight clapped a 10-man unit of Wolfen. Just went in and just annihilated them. And then...
Doesn't surprise me.
And then they died.
It doesn't surprise me.
Like, they go in...
Have you tried using them better?
Well, the problem is, right, is that they're on paper statistically very good unit.
Yep.
Toughness 4, 3 wounds, 4-up in run, -1 to hit. Very good combat profile, 4 attacks, strength 6, -2 to lethal hits. Good. Or the sweep attack, which is sustained hits 2, strength 6, -2, 1. Very, very good, but like when using them, they're just a bit all I think I need to do is find a better character to lead them. Because Azrael gives them the 4-up, but they're not doing anything for him.
Yeah.
Azrael, I've always found, is really, really good in Stern Guard.
Because reroll wounds.
Because reroll wounds. So he gets much better in combat. He gives them sustained hits without needing to use a Librarian with an enhancement. And he also gives them the 4-up, which the Librarian already does.
Yeah.
I'm almost better
Swapping them around.
is swapping them round or replacing the Inner Circle with someone like Hellblasters or Outriders of Samael or Vanguard Vets. I think I quite like the idea of Vanguard Vets because they're 2 wounds. They're kind of saying they've got the 4-up in run, they've got the shit of combat, but they can fly and jump over screens.
Yeah. Chat, don't try and add logic to it. Don't.
What?
Thank you anyway, Bowens, for the $10. You're a legend. Thank you so much, Brandon, for the $10. Well done, Joe. You are doing the Great Hall proud. 100% guarantee that Joe is never taking his medal off. Have you had it off since the weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I got it.
Did Tamsin have to tell you to take it off in bed?
No. No, basically, I took it off in the car, and then it's been in my car till today, so I could bring it in here. So I took it in town,
I feel like he's lying. Did she say, get that big swinger away from me?
Yeah.
Thanks, Sprugly, for the $5. Going to a local 1,500 point event in a couple of weeks. My walls are not painted yet, so I'm taking my towel. Going to run my towner. Is that not like most of 1,500 points?
Yeah. That's most of the army.
Yeah? I'm into it. I don't feel like we see enough no longer 2,000 point tournaments. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It used to. There was a time where it was 1750.
Yeah, then it went to 1850 for a while. Remember that?
Yeah.
Weird. Odd. Not sure why. Thank you for the $5 anyway, mate. Craig, thank you for the 2,000 Japanese yen. Soft score is fun. It reminds us that this is a hobby with multiple facets, not an esport. Tournaments are a great way to test skill and be social, and soft scores reward everyone from players to painters. I actually agree with that massively.
Because I always find that Warhammer events represent every aspect of the hobby, like not to throw shade at them, but like the Zach run events, like the London GT and like Leicester and all that. They're just about being good at the game.
The UKTC circuit.
UKTC circuit is just about hyper competitive focus. We only care about who is the best.
Which is fine if you know you're going to that.
Yeah, if you're going to that, you know. But whereas I find that Warhammer World events, why I like them the most, is that it is about every part of the hobby is being praised and enjoyable. You know, like it is that like people care about. Oh, I like that model you've converted. You know, or you've done a really good paint job. The amount of times I've been stood on a table. I've looked over and I've gone, I really like that conversion. I like what you've done there. Like, how did you do that? And I talked to like people on either side, and people are just happy to talk to each other. There was like 3 tables in the line, and like literally turn 1, we were all just talking to each other about armies, about cool stuff that's happening.
It's cool,
and you don't experience that at the competitive stuff because everyone's in there fucking just in the zone.
Yeah.
I find that like the WTC stuff is all about, or UKTC stuff is all about. It's the wrong word, but it's almost it's a single-minded selfishness about why you're there.
Yeah, some of them are so in the zone.
I am here for me, about me.
Yeah.
Whereas I think the more fun, like Beachhead GW events is about we are here together playing a game.
Yeah. Some people are so in the zone they won't even talk to you. Yeah. Tank, thank you for the $10. My friendly local gaming store does carnival RTTs where equal marks are given to gameplay, best opponent, best painted, and best army. The focus is bringing fun and unusual lists just to see what they do. Much prefer this. I love that.
The thing is, though, like you can go to a golden ticket event with a terrible list and lose all your games and still have loads of fun.
Yeah.
And score well, you know. But that's the same for like all GW events. I was sad I couldn't get a ticket to the Grand Narrative in September. The ticket was £100.
Oof.
But you have to remember with Warhammer World events, you do get a lunch.
And they put on a show as well for the narrative.
Yeah, the narrative stuff they put in, and you get given stuff, and you get like cards and dice and objectives. You get like Warhammer World makes it an event, a big thing, because they understand. I think the people that run those events understand why people are there. And I wish I could have gone. So I'm going to keep my eye out for the next golden ticket event.
Yeah,
I think,
cool.
Because I wanted another group to go.
Warhagen, thank you for the $10. Flight attendant, is anyone on this flight a doctor? Joe, no, but I did win best in faction at Warhammer World. Tears open shirt revealing immaculately polished medal. Oh, thank God. It's going to happen. If you had a passport, that might happen.
I could put it on the front of it, couldn't I? Could replace the Peugeot symbol on my car.
You could, yeah. That would be a look. That'd be a vibe. I'd be into it. You just have to not get crashed into at a junction. Mason, thank you for the one gifted. Lee Ross, thank you for the $10. I'm at Warhammer World at the end of the month playing Horus Heresy, and it's a Throne of Skulls event. Super looking forward to it. And I'm hopefully my World Eaters will survive the journey. It should be fine. How are you transporting them?
Yeah, just don't put them in a bindle.
Yeah,
stick,
if you're not chucking them all in a carrier bag, you should be all right, mate.
Yeah. no shoebox, an actual carry case. Really useful box.
Garfield says, "Is that Tom? No, is that a person called Garfield?"
So that's Tom. I was talking
good.
about, right?
He says, "I came 60th and came 9th overall."
Yeah.
That's fucking incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
I like
And
that.
obviously came third with the painting.
Also, hi Tom.
Hello, Tom.
I'm sure Tom was at.
I said to Tom, I want to get him on here.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's an absolute.
Is Tom the big rugby fan?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was at No Retreat with him.
Knows. Yeah. He said that he's met you.
He's a fucking legend. Yeah.
Knows every jeweler in London. He knows the captain of
Tom.
Bill Gates's ship, cruise ship.
Because he's on a diddle list, or
Tom just knows everyone.
Right, okay.
He's got a story for everything. Much like I have. Imagine my stories if I had money.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
Someone out there, we're on 45 members. If we get 5 more members, we'll be at halfway 50. And I reckon someone will be able to snipe Tom. Do that. Get him a membership. Let's drag him in.
Selling some Horus Heresy armies as well.
Let's get rid of this RFW nonsense and get them all part of the Great Hall. Yeah?
Yeah. I would go anywhere and do anything with Tom.
Would you?
Yeah.
Yeah? Dan, thank you for the 1 gifted. Warhagen, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships.
Thank you, Warhagen. I hope that you are given a selection box of every Ben & Jerry's ice cream.
What's the best Ben & Jerry's?
Well, it's personal preference, isn't it? Really?
What's the best Ben & Jerry's, Jay?
My favourite is Cookie Dough.
Is it? That's Luce's favourite. So it's an acceptable choice because it's Luce's favourite. It's not the right one, but it's acceptable.
What's yours? Caramel Juju?
Fish food.
Fish food. No. They're too hard.
Fish food is incredible.
The concept of frozen chocolate really hurts. It's like, I'm like, ow, it hurts my teeth.
Love it.
Whereas, like, I like the soft, doughy saltiness of the cookie dough.
I'm waiting to see if Lehman Russ tells us how he's transporting his models because of that super chat.
By a catapult.
As long as they're in like a Games Workshop carry case or something, mate, you'll be fine. I'm sure I've seen him use Games Workshop carry cases at other events he's been to. You'll be fine, mate. Deeks, thank you for the $5. Well done, Joe. Great to hear this way of hosting an event is actually by Games Workshop. Hopefully others will follow.
I'm hoping it does because I've said like you don't see any events in England that do the hobby track score.
Yeah.
I've never understood why. And there's always been like this kind of universal joke of everyone that all the events outside of England, basically that England have the worst painting. But when the England team, historically, I don't know what it's been like last year, but a couple of years ago, the England team was always like the worst painted armies. Like the worst team in terms of like showing up and showing off the best hobby.
Because they spend all the time practicing on TTS.
So I think like I want to establish this community of competitive events that do commend, because like best painted army it's always been like a real like last minute thing at tournaments. I think it becomes more like a chore.
Do you know my favourite thing in the world about best painted army is when they give you a starter set of paints. I'm like, they probably don't need that if they've just won best painted.
Yeah, they've probably got enough paint.
Yeah, probably don't need your beginner set and brush.
Right, what would you want as a best painted prize? Best. See, that's why I think, because I'm not a fan of financial rewards for podiums at tournaments. I think a financial reward for coming first is not a good idea because it changes people and they're a lot more aggressive. They play more aggressive and it becomes a lot more try-hardy. But I think like a financial reward for best painted, best general is better.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what I would do for best.
But what you can't do though, what the Games Workshop doesn't, and I think it's the right thing to do, is they don't post how many favourite games or favourite players you get.
Yeah, that's good.
That you have to leave off the table, right? Because I think there can be a serious level of feel bads as well. Because like if you don't get any favourite player, any favourite army votes, like you could be like, no one likes me. But I think at the same time, I like the idea that if you do turn up and you're an arsehole and you didn't get any votes, you're not allowed to complain that you didn't get any.
Yeah. Brian says a high quality brush set would be nice, but not GW brushes. See, I've thought about this because you can get like customized engraved brush cases and stuff, but I'm like, I feel like the brush case would be more valuable to most top end painters than the actual brushes themselves. Because let's say I do an artist opus case with a beautiful engraved, best painted thing full of artist opus brushes and give it to best painted, they're like, I don't use artist opus, I use Winsor & Newton. Do you know what I mean? Like, people have their preferences, don't they? And if they're that level of painting, they definitely have a preference.
Maybe just store credit, you know?
I like the idea of a fancy case for brushes.
Like an element voucher or something.
An engraved case. I like that kind of a idea, but just not the brushes inside.
All right, what's that really expensive one? Is it Frontier? They do our paint stations. So if they do the really sexy wooden paint, like travel cases, they're really nice. But they also do like ones for armies.
Oh, you know, this is an aside. You know the tokens that I got in the little fancy printed boxes with the magnetic lids? Their Etsy store's been taken down by GW.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder why that is.
Because of IP infringement.
Oh, yeah, because they're just using...
They nuked them for 4 different copyright strikes on Etsy, and if you get 4 different strikes on Etsy, your shop automatically gets taken down, and now they have to appeal it with Etsy to try and get back up again. But it's basically use of keywords, use of imagery. But they broke it into like 4 things on purpose just so they got the shop taken down. Games Workshop is getting quite aggressive with its IP again at the moment.
I think it's because Amazon's on the way. Because obviously,
do you reckon?
I think because obviously when you create a film or TV series, right, there's going to be a lot of associated merchandise, right? And I assume they probably want to control the market on that.
Well, it's because they're going to be selling the rights to that merchandise to people.
Yeah.
And they want to make sure that those people that they're selling the merchandise rights to are protected. And the way they do that is by shutting everybody else down.
I have heard that the Games Workshop license is fucking expensive, though.
I can't imagine it's cheap. But then why would you buy it?
Insanely expensive.
But then why would you buy it to create some dog shit mobile game?
I imagine they probably... But the thing is, though, they probably spent all their money on the license. So they don't have to...
Yeah, fair.
So
touche.
They don't put as much effort into the game itself. But I have heard the license is very expensive.
Thank you so much, Omnis Fire Sphinx, for the $20. Hey guys, I used to think people who play at the competitive level had all the rules memorized back in 6th edition when they would tell me I did something wrong. I would redo it, not realizing they were doing me dirty. Now I know. Yeah, no one knows all the rules. No one knows all the rules.
No. And it's people, it used to be like a dirty thing to like question people on their rules. But now I think it's perfectly acceptable to be like, are you sure? Because I think the game is a level where some of the rules are so fucking mental.
Yeah.
Right? You're like...
That sounds wrong.
That sounds crazy.
Insane. Yeah.
And just be like, can I just be like, I believe you, but it also sounds mental. Can you show me that so my brain can process it? And most people will be like, yeah, it's fucking crazy, innit? And they'll show you, right? But again, it's just like just putting it across, just asking questions the right way to not trigger people.
Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff to this day.
Wow.
There's some stuff that the Eldar army can do. Get out, fucking destroy your unit with no sweat whatsoever. Get back in a transport, and people are like, wait, what? But it's fine. You can do that. It's legal. But as long as you can back it up, because you got your rules in front of you, it's fine.
So I had a moment where I was like, Thousand Suns, they have unlimited spells, like in Age of Sigmar, so they can do the same spell multiple times. Or if someone fails at doing a spell, another psychic can attempt to do it. As I basically used one psychic to teleport a unit of Thousand Suns across the table, and then they wanted to do, or no, they used the crystal and they tried to move using a spell, and it's like his head exploded. And then the guy next to him in the same unit then did the spell again to move them. I'm like, can they do that? Because that's like just infinite attempts to kind of do a thing. And it showed me, and I was like, oh yeah, you're doing it right. But I was like, I thought the same unit can do it, but it's not the same psychic can't do it at the same time. But it's just put the question across the right way.
Just ask the question.
Don't be afraid to ask questions because there are going to be times, sadly, that someone will try and pull the wool over your eyes. And I'd be more suspicious of someone that doesn't have access to the rules on their phone than someone that is willing to show you.
I know people before have, and this is incredibly rare, like insanely rare, but I know people before that have printed off their rules and before printing them have changed them. That has happened.
Yeah.
Here's my data sheet. Like, that's not right though. That's wrong. It's been doctored. But we're talking about 1 in millions, honestly. It's so incredibly rare. But it happens, unfortunately. But just ask. And if you're not sure, that's what TOs are for.
Yeah.
I think there is a level where, you're right, what you said before, there's a level where getting the TO is that group of people. Yeah. But I think for the most part, if it's like, this is nonsense, I think you're cheating.
And the good thing about the system of favourite player, favourite game votes is because you've questioned that person, there is a chance that they're not going to give you a favourite player, favourite game vote. But if they're being an arsehole, they're definitely not getting it either.
Yeah, they're not doing anything.
Right?
Well, yeah, absolutely. And this is the thing, isn't it? Like, you're right with what you said about framing it, but and you're right with what you say. You're 100% right with what you say, Joe, about it's your responsibility to try and make sure the other person's having a good time, and you have sort of entered into a pseudo social contract when you go to a tournament. But if that individual you're playing against is quite blatantly cheating or being a dickhead, you're free then. Weapons free.
Yeah, I think give everyone leeway to a point, but if they start to actively just be difficult, then you can go to a TO or a judge and be like, look, this is happening.
Yeah.
Can you help this? Right? And then it's the job. And the good thing is Games Workshop staff are paid to be there.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
So they handle it properly and professionally. Because you might find that when you go to tournaments, because people don't like confrontation, a lot of people aren't paid to be there. The TO is like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Or like, just sort out yourselves. Whereas Games Workshop should be like, cool, we can fix this, sort this. And that doesn't have to be the end of your game as well, right?
Yeah.
You're coming back from a confrontation with your opponent.
Yeah, of course. Chat, we have got 260 people watching. We are still 5 away from 50 members. I reckon between the 260 of you, you can probably find that 5. In fact, if just the 60 of the 260 of you gifted a single membership, we'd be close to the 100. I'd love a little cheeky membership trade just before we say goodbye. But in the meantime, Ben has come back with another $9 super chat saying, timing for tournament cut-off with anticipated changes and my current list changing. I'm aiming for 30th of July is cut-off. I'm concerned about. So that makes sense now with his previous super chat about the Knights Codex. He's worried about his list changing for a tournament cut-off. So, that's just, you can't help it. I don't know when the Knights Codex is coming. If I did know when it was coming, I wouldn't be able to tell you anyway.
Yeah.
For most, depending on when list cut-off is, for most people, like, if the Codex comes before, do you have any other armies, Ben? Is the other question I was asked? Because have another faction ready, and if the Codex comes before list cut-off, go, well, I'll just take my Death Guard then, or whatever it is you've got in the meantime. And if it comes after cut-off, you're like, cool, I can play my old Knights because I know the rules. So I get it. I do get it, though. It is an anxiety that you can't avoid in this edition. You can't avoid in this edition, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Like, just be like, shame you weren't like an AdMech player in the beginning because you wouldn't want your rules to change.
Yeah. You're right there adjusting your medal.
Yeah, I was just putting that over, but I didn't want to cover it up.
No, of course. Just hold the iPad in front of it so people can't see it anyway.
The problem is I chose to wear a black T-shirt with a black hoodie.
Yeah.
It stands out quite nicely in there. Oh, there you go.
Bit of light on it, look. Bit of light on the bling. Ooh. Ooh, mama. Thank you so much, Sandy McDonald, who became a Skull tier member all by themselves, and then, Joe, instantly gifted 5 of the finest Great Hall memberships.
Who?
Sandy.
Sandy?
Yeah.
I hope, Sandy, that every time you go and buy anything from the Warhammer store for the next 2 months, it's in stock.
Ooh. Even limited edition fucking Black Library books.
Yeah. I have had a bit of a disappointment buying stuff. They've had a recent stock check or something at Forge World, and every time I want to go and get something, it's never in stock. It upsets me. I was trying to get hold of the Sorcerer, the Terminator one. Not got him. And I tried to get the Iron Warriors Terminator guy.
Yeah.
Nowhere to be seen.
I need to get hold of, I think, 2 boxes of head takers, and then I have everything I want for my 2,000 point Space Wolves, and I can't.
Well, I mean, they're not out yet, are they?
No, exactly. Well, you can get them on eBay. People sell them on eBay.
The breakers.
Yeah.
I was looking at Blood Claws to use as White Scar intercessors. They're very nice.
If I'm going to say this properly, Seasnan? It's either Siasnan or Seasnan.
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 You are gone wild.
Stop. Thank you for the $5. Here is your 5 for the correct choice of Ben & Jerry's. I assume that's being aimed at me. You're a legend. Evan, thank you for the 1 gifted. You're a hero. Jeffrey, thank you for the 1 gifted. You gifted Ricky Drinks Paints, who then gifted.
That's good.
Which is amazing.
We'd like to see.
Which means we're now on 48 of the finest memberships as we get to, well, basically close to the end of the show now. We'll be rounding it out soon, saying goodbye to you wonderful human beings. All in all, based on what Joe's talked about today, I wasn't a person who was particularly keen, excited, or determined to go to Warhammer World to play one of these types of events. There was a couple of reasons. I figured that first of all, it might attract some types of people that I wouldn't want to play because it's Warhammer World, and I won the golden ticket event at Warhammer World. I also wondered if because it's Warhammer World, it might potentially attract a more kind of chilled vibe of player, and therefore the super tryhards might turn up thinking that it'll be a SEAL clubbing, right? Until they then.
Also, what's interesting now as a development, right, is the people that want to do well competitively go to the bigger events. So this weekend was the Bristol GT, and there's something like 300 people there, which means if you do well at the Bristol GT, you get more ITC points.
Yeah.
So whereas Warhammer World was a 62 down to 61 player event, so the points weren't as high.
But 62 players, if you are one of those exceptional players, okay, granted, you're not going to get as many ITC points if you go to the Bristol GT. But if you're assuming you're going to go SEAL clubbing, you're more likely to get first place and therefore get a golden ticket and be able to go and compete at Worlds.
The thing is, though, what's interesting though is that winning the golden ticket isn't a guarantee of winning the ITC. Depends on what you're after, right? So the Worlds is not for the winner of the ITC. It's just being the best person recognized. It's basically a World Series. You have to qualify, and it's like a best of the best kind of thing. Whereas winning the ITC is just I've got more expendable income and more spare time to go to more events than you can. Right? So you can go to one golden ticket event at Warhammer World, win it, go to America and win it, for instance, and you've played 2 tournaments in an entire year. You can win the ITC.
Minimum 5?
And you have to play 6.
Is it 6, is it?
Yeah, because it takes your best score from 6 events. So you have to play potentially like 10 super majors, or 6 to 8 super majors or large GTs a year to get your points up high enough to compete. And you have to go to LVO. You have to go to the one in Vegas, the LGT, LVO. You have to go to loads and loads of massive events to get there to then win, right? But the golden ticket one, I think, is more special because it's just Games Workshop. I've done a tournament to recognise the people who have won an event, and then you could be the winner of winners. You know, but also there's 2 golden tickets at a Warhammer World golden ticket event.
Which one would you say is easier to achieve? The golden ticket Worlds or winning the ITC?
Well, it depends on your life circumstances, I suppose.
I'm not suggesting either one is easy for reference.
I'm not saying no.
If you think one's easier,
I'd say it's easier probably to do well in the ITC.
Oh, I don't know. I think winning the ITC is significantly harder.
I think it's easier because it's just a numbers game. Because you can do well in the ITC by just playing in a lot of tournaments and doing okay.
Yeah,
You
but to
won't
win
win-
the ITC,
Yeah.
you
You still
need
have
to
to be
win
good.
majors.
I think you still have to be good at winning a major.
You're not going to win the ITC without winning a major.
Yeah, but I think because a golden ticket event at Warhammer World, there are 2 tickets. One for the best there's one for the best player in terms of playing the game, but one for the best representative of the hobby. You know, and so it means that the worlds at the end of the year is then a collection of the best players and the best representatives of the hobby.
Okay.
So the chances of it's like a 50-50 split. You know?
Oh, my point was at least I only have Codex Worry. Thanks, Ben. Okay, I'm with you. I've caught up. That makes sense. If that's the only worry you have in your local gaming store and your local gaming scene, that's a nice place to be. As I'm sure is the point you're making, ultimately. Thank you for another super chat. We're 2 away from 50. Just 2. Winning the ITC is harder for sure. You have to be consistently brilliant every time. Yeah, I think winning the ITC is harder. Winning the ITC is harder.
But I do think that Games Workshop should hold the World Final at Warhammer World. But like a closed event.
It's not big enough, is it? As in Warhammer World's not big enough. It's quite a big event they do, isn't it?
Well, no, they hold it at you've got the World Series finals, but at the same time they also have like a grand tournament at the same time.
Yeah.
So there's maybe only 60 players, so they can hold it at Warhammer World, but they could close Warhammer World for that weekend. They won't, but hold it somewhere better than just a big venue hall. You know.
The thing is, the reason why a lot of these big majors and super majors hold these tournaments in things like big sports halls, Joe, is very, very simple. It's significantly cheaper.
Yeah.
When you look at how much it is to cost some of these more fanciful, bigger places, it's exceptionally expensive. And one of the things that Warhammer players don't like doing typically is parting with their hard-earned money for tournament tickets because they want to keep their hard-earned money to buy new models. So when you start to price a weekend at 50, 60, 70 quid, I think for most people that's okay.
Yeah.
When you start to go above those numbers, depending on how nice your event is, when you start to go above those numbers, people really begrudge paying it. It doesn't matter whether you put them up in the nicest place in the country. They'll be like, 90 quid for a tournament. Yeah, but you're playing in this location. That's blah, blah, blah. You're like, no, I don't want to pay that. No, it's too expensive.
Yeah.
You know, people will pay 50 quid for a GT. They'll then go and pay £110 a night in a hotel, and they'll pay fucking 60 quid a day for food, and they'll pay for a £700 army and blah. But I don't pay more than 50 quid for my event ticket, which is a bit weird. I think often. I don't get me wrong. If I paid 110, 120 quid for a weekend ticket, and I went and it was in a sports hall and it was a bit shitty, and etc. I'm like, that was a rip off.
Yeah.
But I think if you play in a plush, beautiful environment and it's air conditioned and the beer's not trying to rip you off and you get lunch included, you're like, okay, this is probably more worth it.
Not many tournaments that actually do. So a lot of large tournaments, their prices are quite high because of the venue rent. Mm-hmm. Whereas Games Workshop doesn't have that problem so much because they are a massive corporation with loads of money, so they can charge you a high price, but you do get lunch included.
Yeah, and I like that.
Yeah, for
the most part. Do you get the option to not have lunch included, or is it just one ticket price?
Just one ticket price.
Okay, fair.
Aye.
Just because the option to not have lunch is also quite a nice one to be like, I don't want your lunch, I want to take a sandwich. I don't know. I like options. Biggie hugs, thank you for one gifted.
You're not taking a sandwich.
I'm not. You're right. We're 1 away from 50. Not if they're going to have. What did you have on day one?
Beef stew. There was also chili there. I've been before. Full Sunday roast.
Have you?
Yeah. Fish and chips. I mean, the food there's always. I've never had a bad meal there.
You have, but not from Bugman specifically.
Yeah, I had a bad meal from that fucking food van they had outside.
What's they were redoing Bugman's? Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
It. But Bugman's I've always had. I tend to when I eat in Bugman's, I tend to go for things that is hard to fuck up. I go for the Wetherspoons approach. Only burgers, only steaks.
Yeah, I mean you can fuck a steak. Depending on how you like it.
I like it. I always ask for it rare.
Yeah.
Because more often than not, it probably comes out medium rare to medium. So like,
I like it.
When I ask for a medium, it always comes out like really.
I like it rare, and I ask for it rare, and it doesn't come out rare.
But I know that it's going to be somewhere in that gradient. Whereas if you ask for like a medium, it comes out like really well cooked, and you might as well just order the burger.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sam, for the one gifted. Look at you. We're on 50, chat. Now just need someone to drop 50 and we can go home. Yeah. Well, not home. We can get ready for tonight's show.
Yeah. Paddy is bringing Thousands of them. And I'm going to bring the new Tyranid detachment today. And then Thursday, I'm going to bring the new Chaos Space Marine detachment with the new Chaos Knight. I could have done that today, but I really want to run the new Tyranid detachment. I've been thinking about it all weekend. I've been very excited.
It's fine by me, mate. I don't mind. We do have new Chaos Knight Codex. Not really all that excited by it, if I'm honest. Apart from some of the cool bits where Baby Knight's lost battle line. Yay.
I think the new Chaos Knight is the best knight ally.
Someone said that last night on stream.
Yeah? Out of all the knights in the book, it's the best knight to ally into your army because it has the most self-sufficient rules out of all of them. It's got an okay flamer. It's got a good missile launcher. It's easy to remember stats because both guns are the exact same strength and damage. One's AP1 and one's AP2. But the fact that you just get to re-roll wounds versus a target is really good. Yeah. I like it a lot. So if you're a Chaos player and you are thinking about putting a knight into your army, I would probably suggest getting one.
Cray, thank you so much for 5 more gifted memberships, you legend. Thank you, Cray.
Thank you, Cray. I hope that you are given a selection box of Krispy Kreme donuts.
That's nice. I like that, Jay. Ash, thank you for the $5. He says, am I the only one who doesn't want to take the same detachment to a tournament more than once? Do you try to be a unique player each tournament? No. I take the same detachment more often than not.
I really wanted to run Librarius Conclave to this Golden Ticket event. And part of me wishes I did. Because I think it would have been a bit more unique and a bit more different. Because obviously there are a lot of Space Marines there and a lot of them were running Gladius. But Gladius was the most efficient. Like, if the Balanced Data Slater came out a week earlier, I would have definitely taken the new Dark Angels attachment. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. But then I think I might have also had a moment of indecision and might have taken Tyranids.
Yeah.
I'm trying to take more different... Because when you go ITC, like, tournaments, a lot of people tend to pick an army and do that for the year. So like this year, I'm going to do Dark Angel. This year, I'm going to do Death Watch, or I'm going to do Guard. I just tend to just pick how I'm feeling.
Yeah, I get it. But I don't think you're the only one who wants to take different detachments each time. I think that's probably more common than you think. Yeah. But I don't try being a unique player for a couple of reasons. The main one is, if we think about also Joe's chat about making sure your opponent has fun, the main reason as to why I'll quite often take the same detachment, especially if it's one I'm well practiced in, is because I have to think less. Because I know my rules better. So I have to think less. So if I have to think less, I can focus more on the interaction with the opponent, building that camaraderie, having a laugh, having a giggle. And I'm less concerned that I'm getting rules wrong because I know it better. I'm not saying I know it perfectly, and no one does. But that's probably one of the main reasons why I like taking the same detachment.
Also, he says that I like to change every 4 months. It also probably helps with the changes in Balanced Data State as well. So when you get the Balanced Data State, units are obviously taken out of favour, new units are kind of brought back in with points and rules and things. So it's easier to swap into a new detachment because a new detachment might make certain units better. Yeah.
Right, we got to 55 thanks to Cray jumping in there with 5 at the end as well. So only 145 to do tonight, team. Easy,
right.
innit? Easy.
Me and Paddy.
Easy job. It's you and Paddy, yeah, I believe in you. I believe in a thing called love. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, you wonderful human beings. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Like I said, to round it up, it sounds like Warhammer World have actually put on a great show, one that I was worried about, one that I was kind of worried about. But based on what Joe's told me now, I'd like to do one in the future.
I think everyone should do at least one.
Yeah, well, that's why I put the title.
I think once you've done one, you will want to keep doing them.
That's interesting.
And I think
that's good though, because we criticise GW a lot.
Yeah.
It's really good that they run an event on their own, based on their own tabletop game, and you come away going, "It's brilliant."
Yeah, it also helps. I went with a great group of guys, and we also during the days planned what we were going to do in the evening as well. So we left. Sometimes you leave in a tournament and you're like, oh, I've got to go find some food. I don't know where I'm going to stay. Do you want to go out? If you're in a group and you go, this evening we're going to go do this. We're going to go and eat here. It's going to be great. I think, yeah. Going with friends also makes it super special.
Yeah, I can't think of anything worse than going to a tournament on my own. I always have to be going with someone. But hey. Yeah. Right, thank you for hanging out with us. Tonight at 7:30, we have a live game of Warhammer 40k. It's Tyranids versus Thousand Suns. New Tyranid detachment from last week specifically. So you can look forward to that. Paddy's back. I'm on the deck, probably trying not to sleep.
Gareth, the Games Workshop's data sheet cards never come with the stratagems or detachment rules in. Sometimes army rule, though. So it's not wrong. They're just cheap.
Yeah, you don't get strat cards in the updated codexes. You only got them in the indexes, so it is normal, mate. You're fine.
Great.
But enjoy the box because it's beautiful as well, right? So there's a live game tonight. Like I say, come and join us tonight at 7:30 to watch that game of Warhammer 40k. Tomorrow I'm back at 7:30 with the Warhammer show. On Thursday it's another Liam and Joe show. I'm hoping to do some more building on Thursday. I think predominantly more blood claws. And then the evening we've got another live game of 40k. I think Paddy at the moment is back again. And you'll be running the Chaos Space Marines with the new Knight. And then Friday, after dark, 9 p.m, full week of content. Probably some bonus on Friday to try and make up for some of the revenue gaps we have. Maybe some Vag, maybe some Battlefield 1. Who knows? Thank you for hanging out with us today. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please make sure you smash that like button before you disappear. And if you're not already a subscriber, smash that subscribe button because we're closing in on 35k. You're all amazing human beings. Joe, is there anything you'd like to add before we disappear?
No, I don't want to.
Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah? We need to go get some milk because we didn't have any tea before.
Yeah, I need a wee.
Yeah, I need a wee as well. Cool. You're amazing. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye, have a wonderful time.